Place to be for news, notes, interviews, and current events for all issues military and veteran related. If you or someone you know has ever worn the uniform of the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, or National Guard or Reserves, you've come to the right place. American Warrior Radio, right here on the Talk to Me station, AM 1300 WMEL, sponsored by AVET Project. Folks, this program is all about supporting our troops and their families, both past and present. So please get comfortable, grab a cup of coffee, maybe a pencil or paper to jot down a note or two, because we're always efforting to bring you important information. With that said, let's roll down the runway and get this show off the ground. As you know, my name is Garen Cohn. I'm an Air Force veteran and a retired legal advocate for veterans, as well as founder of AVET Project. And usually I have my co-host Glenn McGuffey, who is retired Air Force as well, and the supervisor of the Brevard County Veteran Service Office. He's off today doing some business with the County Veteran Service Office, so we're going to be going alone. We've got an exciting show, so I'm glad you tuned in. And with that said, I want to launch right into an important guest we have. We have with us today Barbara O'Brien. Say hello, Barbara.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us on American Warrior Radio this fine Saturday. Glad to have you. Now, we want to get right into this program that you have. It's equine therapy, but what's the name of your organization?
My organization is Sanctuary Island, Inc., and we're registered 501c3 in Florida, and we provide services to wounded warriors to therapeutic horseback ride, and we do children's parties for children facing adversity.
All right, so you incorporate horses, this equine therapy, to help them deal with issues they're facing. What would those issues be? And trying to keep it specific to veterans, because that's what the audience is tuning in for. What are some of the issues that our warriors come to you that they're dealing with?
First of all, isolation, sadness, emotional, mental issues. Any one of these can be helped through a friend with a horse. And with equine assisted therapy, the veteran rides the horse and becomes friendly with the horse, helps in the care of the horse, and also meets other comrades to be able to ride if they're in a class. So it reduces isolation and helps them to improve the status of their health overall. There's also unmounted programs.
And we can get to that in a
moment.
And
we can get to that. Okay.
But I wanted to focus specifically, you mentioned the mental issues that some of these guys and gals are dealing with, particularly those that have been in combat and are dealing with these unseen wounds of war, such as PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and TBI, which is kind of the signature wound of these battles, this traumatic brain injury. Literally, the concussive blasts of these IEDs that we all hear about on the news cause their brains to get jumbled. Just the concussive blasts alone may not even have any outward physical injury, but due to the major trauma that they suffer from these blasts, whether they're in a vehicle, honest to goodness, folks, we've talked about it before on American Warrior Radio. We've got some wonderful technology, the MRAP vehicles, mine-resistant, ambush-protected vehicles that deflect the blast outwards. Well, Dr. Stephen Scott out of St. Petersburg, the VA hospital, James Haley, who runs the Polytrauma TBI clinic, can personally attest that the vehicles may survive virtually unscathed, but the inhabitants of the armored vehicles themselves can have compression fractures and certainly TBI. So when a warrior comes to you and says, I'm interested in this horse therapy, this equine assisted therapy, and they exhibit some signs of PTSD or this TBI, what can you first, how do you identify how badly they're affected by it, or is that part of your program?
That's not part of our program. We work with certified path farms that are certified that have certified instructors, one of which is Heavenly Hoofs in Kissimmee, and they go to a special program for PTSD and a well-oriented international program for heroes. They get certified, They continually go for education. In fact, all of the instructors right now from Heavenly Hoofs are at a conference such as that. We use these farms, and what we do is, because the farms offer all their programs free to veterans, we support them with scholarships to be able to individually pay for the lessons, the psychologists that they have on board. And at Heavenly Hoofs, they're partnered with the University of Central Florida and have a physician, Manette Monroe, that is running a research project on PTSD and the effects of therapeutic horseback riding.
So this is fairly in-depth. I mean, the candidates for your program, is there any type of screening that takes place prior to you enrolling them in the program?
For the most part, they have to have a physical physician's permission slip. At Heavenly Hoofs, Manette Monroe was a physician, an MD, so she could provide that to them. But for the most part, farms request that kind of information in order to do any of their riding, whether it's a veteran or whether it's a disabled child or a disabled person that goes for their regular programs.
Because we wouldn't want to put him in harm's way by mounting
Absolutely
a horse.
not. And in most cases, they take it slow, but our last veterans got right on horseback and had never ridden horses before and were able to do it with all kinds of physical disabilities and PTSD.
Interesting stuff, and I'm so glad you're doing this program. How long have you been doing it? How long has Sanctuary Island been in existence?
Well, we started in 2004, but we didn't become a 501c public charity until last year, March 11th. But we have been working on this program because I have a physically challenged son who did therapeutic horseback riding. He's now 47, and he started when he was 5. He was the first child to ever ride in a program in New Jersey. We used to have to drive him at major distances to get him on a horse. But then he started a program with the county course and was the first rider. So
was that one of your leading inspirations to develop the program you have now?
Mark O'Brien, yes, was our inspiration for this program.
Well, he's noteworthy in his own right, because before you here on the table at the studio, you've got some books that he's authored. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. My for-profit business is a healthcare business.
You're a registered nurse,
I'm
I
a
understand.
registered nurse with my master's, and we have a consulting firm. And I asked Mark to write me some books because he was on disability and feeling very not self-worthy. So we wanted to boost his self-esteem, and we said, let's write some books for children on health. So he took his experiences of having been in the hospital, personal experiences, and he wrote books that were based on that, but fictional. One, Peter the Pediatric Panda.
Peter the Pediatric Panda.
Yes,
catchy title.
He's a bear, and he's also our mascot, and he's at all of our functions.
Outstanding.
And one book is called Special Person to Ride, which is a real favorite to our therapeutic horseback riding veterans. They each receive the book when they go into a program that we are funding. So Special Person to Ride tells about the sidewalkers. You know, the programs are very, very complicated. In the beginning, you need 2 sidewalkers to assist riders many times that have many physical challenges. You need a leading person. So there are many, many volunteers that they have to have. But
so they're spotting the rider.
They're spotting or holding the
Okay.
rider or assisting the rider in some way. The sidewalkers, though, according to Mark in his book, have another very special piece. And most people don't know about it. The sidewalkers don't even realize it, on what a friend they become to the rider. And in Mark's case, he moved from riding horses, and he has cerebral palsy, and he was wearing braces when he first started. He went from riding with sidewalkers to riding independently and jumping fences.
Interesting. So when he got engaged in the program, I'm sure in the formative stages of this, it's advanced quite a bit since the time your son was involved.
Oh yeah, they're very
Initially.
big. They're very big, and they've moved to a lot more therapy. Mark rode for fun and for competition.
Okay, so he went way beyond what were these introductory folks that are coming. Now, just recently you had a warrior come in who is a past participant in AVET Project's PR&R program, the Project Recuperation and Reintegration Retreat, and we'll have her on the line here after a bit here on American Warrior Radio. Explain how that process came about and how it ended up turning out. Everything was a success?
Well, the first call came from AVET when Kim Cohen called me and said, Barbara, I have a veteran who is passing on from breast cancer. And she has a final wish. She has a bucket list wish to ride a horse. Okay. She wants to ride a horse before she succumbs to this horrible disease. So she also had a traumatic brain injury from the Desert Storm, Operation Desert Storm / Shield. And she wanted to ride a horse. So we called Heavenly Hoofs Farm. Within 24 hours, they answered me. They did not charge us. Sanctuary Island facilitated. Amy, Abby Horner, the manager, and Wayne Hempstead, I think is Wayne's last name. He was the certified rider. They all showed up on their day off. They got the horses out in a shady area, and they put Candy on a horse. And I have chills just sitting here talking about the story. It was so heartwarming. We were there with her. My Sanctuary Island paid for her lodging and her food, but boy, it was minimal because there wasn't very much that she needed. But we were there with her, and we rode.
And we'll hear her testimony here in a minute. I wanted, again, focus on the books. Where can people purchase these books?
Through Sanctuary Island.
Very good. How about a website?
www.sanctuaryisland.org.
Sanctuaryisland.org. And a phone number that folks can contact you?
My cell phone, 732-778-9607.
Okay, now Barbara, you're doing a lot of good out there. And again, American Warrior Radio and AVET Project focuses on the vets. But let's talk about how you involve other folks, other needy folks in the community as well, because you mentioned you do more than just help the vets.
Absolutely. We're having a wonderful children's party for, at first, military children at the Brevard Zoo on September 30th.
September 30th.
It's free to the
How much
children.
was that?
Free
Oh,
to
one
the
of our
children.
favorite words.
They're going to have lunch, go to the zoo, and act out one of the parts in Mark's book by Vieira Studio for Performing Arts. We also go to schools for character building. Mark reads because he's disabled. He tells how he became an author.
Wonderful. Well, we've been talking with Barbara O'Brien from Sanctuary Island. The website again is sanctuaryisland.org. Your phone number one more time, Barbara?
732-778-9607.
We thank you so much for visiting with us on American Warrior Radio and for all that you do, not just for the veteran community, but the community at large, because you're even a member of Rolling Thunder.
I'm a member of Rolling Thunder and Melbourne Regional Chamber.
Well, thank you so much, folks. You got to check this out, sanctuaryisland.org. We'll be back on American Warrior Radio right after the break.